Okay, welcome back. We're going to continue the journey, and now I have a new microphone. Well, actually, I have an old microphone, but I finally got an audio interface, and I'm cleaning it up, so it should sound better. I added some filters to the the mixer, and by the way, I'm using OBS Studio. I built it from source, but for some reason, the source version didn't work quite right on Mac. I was able to build it, but I was having trouble with the input, so I did download the binary and install it, which I typically loathe to do. I don't like using any tools I can't build from source, but I didn't spend like finding a lot of, I didn't, I didn't spend, I didn't feel like spending a lot of time trying to find it. So anyway, we're going to continue on where we were. Oh yeah, by the way, the sound that was there before, there was this low kind of wow sound. And when I switched to the mic through the audio input, still there. So I added an EQ, and let's see, I added a couple of filters here. I got a 3-band equalizer. I cranked the low down -20 dBs, the mid down -10 dBs, and then I added some gain. I added a plus 10 dB gain because I noticed last time I uploaded to YouTube, it sounded fine locally, but the volume was really low, so I had to use I used a handbrake to crank the gain up, but this time I just cranked it up locally. So when we upload this video, we'll see how it sounds, but I think it'll come out okay. All right, enough sidelining in how I do the videos. So back to where we were. Last time we were here, we finished reading back the stored strings of the line sets. And here we are loading it back, but it's not being assigned to the line sets member yet in the scripts. So that's what we need to do here. We see the to-do, convert strings to NS dictionary. So that's the problem. We have this thing comes back, it gives us an array of strings, and we need it as dictionaries. So originally let's see what we got here. Let's close all this down. And we got Chad Gippet, but I'm just gonna actually search regular search, and I'm gonna say what do we do? We used description. We used Swift. We're gonna say Swift NS dictionary, right? Well, dictionary description. Actually, it's not Swift, isn't it? Isn't this Objective-C? This is Objective-C. So let's just say NS Dictionary description. Oh, there we go. You can see it right there. It generates a property list. Yeah. I already have the search in here. Must be from the work I did before, originally. Because that's what it does. It generates a string property list. I mean, it's a string, but create a dictionary property list programmatically. Let's see. Well, let's just look at it as dictionary. So this is what we get in the string. So if it's symmetric, there should be a way, describing a dictionary. Okay, description in strings file format. Yeah, we could have done it as a resource strings, but these aren't really resource strings. We don't really want to treat this as a resource. So the question is, how do we get it back? How do we get it back as in its dictionary? So, well, let's ask Gippet. Let's just create a new thing here. How do I recreate? Let's recreate an NS dictionary from a string that was created from another NS dictionary. From a call to another, from a call to, well, it doesn't really need to be another dictionary description. See what it says. It's thinking. Recreate. What is it saying? Dictionary, description, remove unnecessary characters. Why do I have to parse this? Placing occurrences. Yeah, no, I don't want to do that. Isn't there a method somewhere that initializes? Initializes? Is this the British spelling thing? Yeah, it is. I'm in Portugal, and so maybe it thinks that my English should be British. Isn't there a method somewhere that initializes an NS dictionary from the same format that it creates, i.e. a property list? Property. It's got to be something. Come on. Oh, yes, indeed. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, you could have told me that right at the beginning. That's what I asked for. Okay, and where is it? Of course, it's not on NS Dictionary. That would be too symmetric. It has to be on a thing called property list serialization as an NS Dictionary. So that's funny. It actually creates an NS Dictionary, but the method's not on NS Dictionary. Yeah, things are spread out. Typical. Oh, and we got this lovely, all this try-catch stuff going on here. So let's see. To get data, we have an if-let, so we've got an optional here that we've got to catch. And then the actual serialization throws an exception. So this is what we end up with. We end up with all this, what I call apparatus, to deal with optionals and exception handling. Well, they don't call them exceptions, they call them errors, but of course that's the Swift way. They never use conventional terms for everything. They always have to invent their own language for everything. Am I being too hard on Swift? Probably. Okay, so we need to code this up. And this is Swift code. And the code that we can't put this in Objective-C. So let's copy it. Let's use it. We need to make a utility somewhere in here. We have to call from Swift. We have to call Swift code from Objective-C. And the only place I do that right now is in the shared facade. And I have to make an Objective-C class to call Swift functions. Can't just call them directly. I mean, this is just, you can see this just a namespace. These are static functions. But I don't want to put it in shared facade. It's not going to be pure because, it could be pure, right? It's just a conversion. But if we look at this code, just the fact that there's some kind of exception being thrown makes it impure. Right? It's not exactly referentially transparent, or is it? Could I consider it pure? If I catch the exceptions, could I consider it pure? The problem is this is a framework class, though I have no idea if it depends on some global state in the environment to do its work. That doesn't seem like it would make sense. I wonder if we should treat it as pure. Interesting idea. So we've got functional here. And that's pure. That's our pipe operator, which is, by the way, this is a nice feature of Swift. Can't do this in Kotlin that I know of. So hats off to Swift for allowing us to actually create our own little functional pipe. That was kind of nice. We got fake script. This is a set of functions. Functional is a pipe operator. This is a set of functions. Let's do it up here. And let's, I'm going to duplicate, I'm just going to use the finder for this. I'm going to duplicate shared facade. All right. We're going to, for now, we're just going to call it conversion. And concurrency is in side effect because obviously we're going to this is environmental, right? You're dealing with a queue, we're dealing with things that are external. Again, is this a class or is this an external? Well, there's one way to find out. Let's go ahead and move it into pure for now. Let's assume it's going to be pure. Although this property list serialization was probably not open source, we probably won't be able to see it. All right, so we copied that over, and let's go ahead and add it, conversion. Yep, we're going to add it, but we're going to change it up a bit. So we're going to call this, we're going to call the function, what are we doing? We are converting, where's our original code? It's all over the place. I think it's in here. All right, we're converting strings to NS dictionaries. So our function should be called convert strings to dictionaries. That makes sense. We're taking a string argument. And actually, I'm just going to paste in that code that I copied from Gipit. I'm going to get rid of the rest of this stuff. We don't need it. I just copied it so we kind of get our boilerplate that we need. And what are we going to return here? We're going to return a list of dictionaries, right? An array of dictionaries. Okay. So we're going to do the same thing up here. This is our facade that was needed. And we can't use the same name. Why don't we use the verb convert? You call it conversion. That's the name of the module, the file. It's conversion functions. But I'm going to make it so that this is, it's not an instance. It's just our namespace. I guess I should call it conversion. This is just convert. All right. Conversion. We're not going to say conversion convert. We're going to say strings to dictionaries. Conversion strings to dictionaries. That makes sense. Oh, and our string is a string array. So we do that. Should we say S or SS? Let's call it SS. Don't really like so much using variable names that are the same as the type, like string is string. But I guess in this case, it could be just strings. Oh, dictionaries. That isn't going to compile. Same thing here. Yeah, SS is a little weird, isn't it? Yeah, I know. I like short names. I like short names for local variables that don't live very long. I like that distinguishing from something that's like a member or something that lives for a while. But this is fine, strings. So strings to array of dictionary, and of course we got to call the same function. So we're going to say convert strings to dictionaries. Strings. We do not need to rename anything. This got copied over from the boilerplate. Yeah, we don't need to import anything. Okay. Well, the strings we've already got. Oh, okay, so this is a string. So we're getting a collection of strings, and we need to convert each one individually. So really what we're going to do is we're going to map. We're going to return strings. Yeah, we're going to return strings. We're going to map. And that will give us an individual string. So for that, we'll use S. We'll say SN. And we don't need this. So we need to convert the string to data. And we have to use an if let because we're going to get, it's nillable. So we got to figure out what we're going to do if it's nil. We're obviously not going to print an error. I'll worry about that in a second. So we do an if let. This needs to be indented. Use property. It's funny. This is what Chat Jippet thinks are good comments. I think we don't have enough. Something's not matching here. Yeah. It's kind of hard to read. Let's nest this down. All right, so we've got. It would be nice if does Swift tell us the matching braces? No, it doesn't even do that, does it? Or does it? No. Kind of does. Okay, it does show. It blinks for a second. That matches that one. That matches that one. So we need another squirrely. There we go. Okay. All right, so let's look at this. We kind of got a nothing if we don't have a let, so we need to do an else on this. So if data, we got data. It's not description string. This is S data. Yeah, see, I don't like the data. Data. You're confusing a method with a variable. I'm gonna call it D. Nobody's gonna like that. D. S becomes D. Recreate a dictionary. No. Let's just call it dictionary. Or let's give it a local name, dict. Can we call it DA? Da. I mean, I could say STR for S, but the problem is this is actually a type in a bunch of languages, or a common prefix, and I don't like confusing that, so let's just call it da from S. So the rationale for using literal name would be, well, it tells me in English what this is. One, bias to English, which I think is kind of elitist in some way. I mean, all of our languages, unfortunately, are biased to English. But also, it doesn't, data, you still have to look at the variable and understand what it is. So I can't just say from data, and I'm like, oh, it's just a data. I don't know what type this is. I don't know how it was created, and is it a function? Is it data? It doesn't matter. The idea that you can just look at a variable name and know everything about it by looking at the name is kind of absurd, because we don't do that. When we read code, our brains are human interpreters and compilers, and we're sitting this is cognitive load. We basically go, okay, this variable I understand is this because I can see its declaration up here. So it doesn't really help us. Just having a name, we're still gonna have to go look at it anyway. This is just as useful. What is DA? Oh, DA is the result of calling S data, right? And it's a data type. I guess data tells me it's a data type, and I only have to think of it as the type when I'm looking at this. I don't know. That's my argument. I'll put the recreated dictionary. Obviously, we're not going to do that. So, okay, property list, dictionary. I like to have this in the same indent. We'll double indent that out. We're not doing this. We're not printing it. So ultimately, we're going to return it from the map. So I would really like a syntax where I don't have to have this intermediate variable. I could literally just kind of say if let return. Can I do that? No, that would be nice. No, I can't do it. So to say, I could use a coercion. Right, they're Elvis. They don't call it the Elvis operator, but I could use a optional chaining to but returns a statement. It's not an expression. That doesn't work. These have to be statements. It's the problem with mixing statements and expressions. It's very hard to condense this code. So return the dictionary. We're going to get back. So let's see what happens. Actually, if we have an error, right? This throws an error. And what are we going to do? We're going to return nothing. No. I mean, I could just return a string. Sorry, I could just return it as dictionary. It's got nothing in it. But how do we know it failed? Right, we're just silently absorbing the failure if we do that. I think I kind of have to have the same thing here after this if let. I could do this. Yep. Do I even need the catch? Yeah, I have to have the catch. This is inside the map. Should be able to just put the return out here. Let's do this. Make a to-do in here. Handle error instead. I think the catch could be nothing, right? Because it's just going to fall through. So really what I want to do is I want to just return the dictionary. Otherwise catch nothing. I don't want this exception error to get thrown out of here. So let's see what we get if we do this. Compile, see what happens. Okay. Generic type dictionary. Oh, that's right. Well, I think we need to keep this as NS dictionaries because we're calling it from Objective-C. So that's not going to help us anyway. And we're still going to, dictionary in Swift as reality is probably a subclass if it's not just NS dictionary. Let's do that. All right, Syntax seems to handle this code. Well, that's good. Okay, convert strings to dictionaries. All right, so we're not handling the error. Don't like that. I mean, in theory, it should always work because the string was created from a dictionary in the first place. So let's get back to here. So instead of load files as strings, we shouldn't need this mutable set anymore. Let's comment that out. We'll delete it if we're sure we don't need it. Line sets is nil. Now we're going to say line sets equals, and now we have to call conversion. And we said strings as dictionaries. And strings is going to be the result that we get of this. So can we just do that? We're going to get back an array of dictionaries, which should be what this is. Can we do that? See what happens. So, not what it's called. Strings to dictionaries, not strings as dictionaries. Strings to dictionaries. Well, it's conversion to this to that. Strings as. Yeah, as is, it's not, it's not just casting. We shouldn't call it as. Yeah, strings to dictionaries. Calling conversion, strings to dictionaries. Please convert. Incompatible pointer types, NSList. Oh, it compiled, but it gave me a warning. So line set is in a set, and we're doing it from an array. I think we were griping about this before. Why is it a set? And I didn't want to have to change it. Okay, so this is under the legacy code, core data. This is the script class. We probably actually already have it open over here. Let's see, we don't need that. Line set. I don't see script in there. If we go to script properties, we're going to see where our line sets are. Okay, this was the original. It's now transient. Where did we put the transient? I think we put it in the core data. There we go. Yeah, it's just JSON. Line set. So do we add line? I think we added a method, didn't we? We had an accessor for it. No? I mean, isn't that what we're looking at? Isn't this the accessor? That's the accessor. Yeah, I mean, duh. Oh, it's funny. Here's the actual type right up here. So do we need to return it as a line set? Well, I think the only concern here is that there's going to be code elsewhere that's depending on that. Although, what if we change this to an NS array? Let's just see what happens if we change this to an NS array. I want to see what it breaks. I mean, line set is an NS dictionary, so that should be compatible because we type defed it up here. So let's just see what happens if we say it's an array. I mean, obviously the method inside is going to break, but I want to see the callers. All objects. So we wouldn't even need to do this because all objects, this is the conversion to an array. Because you can't iterate. So let's say we do this. Maybe we should just make it an array and just simplify life. I think the set thing is annoying. In fact, it's potentially bad. There's another one, all objects. So look at that, it's already being converted to an array by it's already being converted to an array in a bunch of places by the legacy code. So what's the value of having it as a set? That's a question. I mean, I understand that semantically a set is going to prevent duplicates, but these are duplicate references, meaning the same reference to the same object won't show up twice, which it shouldn't. But if that happens, if we add the same reference twice to a collection, is it just going to silently consolidate the collection and eliminate duplicates in the set? And that may be behavior the legacy code is depending on. There may be somewhere where line sets are added without checking for the existence of the same reference in the collection, and that's why it's made as a set. I wonder if that's why the author who did this originally made it a set because that's what was happening. He was finding duplicates. Like, well, I'll just change it into a set, and then the semantics of a set will eliminate any duplication rather than looking at the code that's adding something that already exists in the array. I'd have to search through all the code and find the places where the line sets are added. But I already have that. That's pretty much I know where they're added. They're added here. Wait. Script coordinate. I mean, isn't that where I was? Isn't this where I was? Oh, this is the H file. The M file. This is where I'm loading the line sets. So I'm not going to have any duplication in here. But where did new line sets get added? Somewhere in here. I don't know. I might need to keep it as a set. Otherwise, I semantically have some problems. Yeah, this is happening in too many places. I think this is going to be a problem. I think this is going to be a problem. Where's conversion? Okay. Let's get a diff. Here we had a conversion, core data class, H. Yeah. Let's not do that. I just don't want to have to be chasing down this issue of there ending up being duplicates in the array and having to figure out all the code that's responsible for doing that. Just going to rely on the duplication elimination of the set by itself. And what else did we change? We changed that guy, script JSON.m. Not something I want to spend time doing. This code's going away anyway. And script fetch. Script fetch .m. All right, let's see what we got. All right, we got the conversion. Okay, let's go back to where we're doing. Don't create landmines for yourself when you don't need to. What happened to the errors? We still have these warnings, right? Where was it? Yeah. So it let us get away with this. I think that would be a problem. Strings to dictionaries. I think I need to do this as convert it to a set, which unfortunately I believe we have to say set something, right? So there's some method. We did this once before. Actually, let's just do a find grep in our code. We're going to find grep everything. This is just the grep keywords to show us the source, and we're going to look for set. I think somewhere in here. Whoa. Can't do that. Bash don't like that. Oh, I think I have to say ns set. Okay, somewhere in here there's a conversion to arrays. Set with objects. Wasn't there? We did this already. Init with objects. Yeah, I think it's this. I think init with objects is how you convert from an array. Let's do a normal search and a set init with objects. Oh, no, this is different. Knit with array. There it is. Yeah, knit with array. Why don't we have it in here? I'm pretty sure we saw this somewhere. Knit with array. Knit with array. It's there somewhere. Yeah, it's got to do the alloc and then the init with array. Wow, this is weird. Look at this. Knit with an array from an array. Is this just making a copy? Oh, I don't want to know. All right, so we got to allocate the set. NS set alloc init with array. Then we got all this stuff. Boom, boom, boom. Boom. Let's try that. Still gonna get warnings. Yes. Oh, oops, I put it in the wrong place. This goes before the call to conversion. We're doing that, then we're converting it. That's actually a little more readable, the way it's nested. Basically saying, look, yeah, we're building this set, we're knitting with this array, and here's the array that we're producing. Strings of dictionary, shared facade, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. All right, let's see with lack. Okay, oops, 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 stop. So it's weird. We get these incompatible types, and this thing's not catching it. Is this because of the dynamic typing nature of Objective-C? What's the point of all this if it's dynamically typed? I'm not an expert in Objective-C. I only learn as much of it as I need to deal with it. Yeah, we've got this structure coming back. So obviously we don't want to do that. Load files as strings. We get the @mutant coming back from this guy. I think we just want to say strings, right? Shared facade, load files as strings. Dot strings? Do we have to use an intermediate variable? Please tell me I don't have to do that. Please tell me that. Load files as strings. Do we say dot strings? This isn't going to work, is it? That's the format. I want dot strings is on the... I mean, this is what would be more like that. I don't think that's going to work. Yeah. Property cannot be found in forward class. Forward class? Do I just say strings as a method? Expected. Yuck. How do I... Yeah, it looks like I have to create an intermediate variable. Can this call result? Why can't I just say strings? Isn't that what it looks like? We need to pull up the generated Kotlin code. It's going to be under build. It's not under generated. I think it's under outputs. No. Where is it? It's under intermediates. Oh. Yeah, let's just find it. Find .name parcel shared.h. All right, it goes under build bin, da-da-da-da-da, and it goes into CocoaPods. Let's look at the one sitting in CocoaPods. There's like several generations of it. There we go, headers, there it is. Oops, opened in the wrong window. What's the name of this thing? I forgot. App mutant. I think it's app mutant string list. I mean, I could look at it what it is in Kotlin, but I need to look at what the actual, okay, here we go. Strings, property. It's saying I don't have a property called strings. Read only, app mutant, strings. Why is it saying that? It's an NS array of NS string. I see that right there. Forward declared. Is it not seeing this header? Because we're in Objective-C code. I forgot that problem. We have to see this header. But it sees this type because it's forward declared. So wait a minute. Let's see this error again. This is back to the we're not getting the shared header. Forward class object. Maybe I should just move this code to Swift and call it from Objective-C. It's nowhere to be found. Yeah, that's all under Swift code. I think it's because of this. Forward declared. Load files as strings. Doesn't like this declaration for some reason, even though it sees that it must have something to do with the way this header is being generated. Load files as strings. Is this where the forward declaration problem is coming from? No, but it doesn't see this. It doesn't see this function. This is the platform function. It doesn't see that. It's calling the one on the facade. It's calling this one on shared facade. So as far as it knows, this is the declaration. The declaration, let's close this down. On shared facade. But what's interesting is this is a Swift name, and the only way it knows that that's a Swift name is it's coming from the header here. Right? You can see there it is, Swift name. So it sees this. It gets this Swift name. It sees this. It must be saying, okay, this is the real interface. And on this real interface, I see a property declaration. I don't know what it means by forward. Cannot be found in forward class object. Let's search and see what the world says. We're not going to use Gipit. Actually, let's compare. Let's compare if we just do a web search. And this is going to be Objective-C. Cannot be found forward class objects. So let's say we get just a regular web search. Right? We get a Stack Overflow. Property cannot be found. Perfect. I'm just going to open all three of these. See, now when I go to Stack Overflow, I can see the discussion. Let's look at the answer. Did you import the header? In your interface class, you make a promise to compile it as a class, but after that you need to import the header. Does it need the implementation? But obviously, this header is getting imported or it would never see any of this. And this just has to do with something between the Swift bridge. Yeah. Same thing. Difference between header and interface and implementation. So let's compare this to asking the question to Gipit. Well, we'll keep this in the same thing. How do I resolve the Objective-C error? So it's a summary of what I already read. For a declaration for a class, but that's not happening here. This has something to do with the Swift bridge. All right, rather than just asking, let's experiment. If we add Rasha to the global header, let's see if it resolves the problem. Remember, we did this once before. This actually pulls in that header to the Objective-C code. And let's see if it complains. Yeah, that resolved the problem. That sucks. Yeah, I don't like having to do that. I don't want to have a dependency on that header. So I'm going to fix it a different way. I'm going to change the shared facade method to not return the @mutant string list. I'm just going to return the strings. Dot strings, because the Objective-C does not need the @mutant. Let's do that. String array. And we're going to keep this returning the @mutant for Swift calls that need the @mutant to be passed along. But that's not happening here. That should just solve the problem. And I should have to not do this. And I should have to not do what I did. Where is it? The bridging header. Let's do this back the way it was. Now let's see what we get. Boom, 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 boom. Core data class. Let's try this, see if we get these errors again. Yep, solve the problem. That's what I should have done originally. Okay. Let's see what we get. Let's just set a breakpoint and just see if they're loaded. They're not going to be readable by the UI. Do we have anything here? Come on, show me, show me, show me. It's 2 elements. I think it works. Be nice if we could actually look at it. I can get rid of this. Get rid of this. Yeah. And let's continue. Let's just disable that for now. Disable that for now. Disable that for now. I want to see if anything shows up. I mean, it obviously can't use the line set itself, but do we get an entry? We do. It worked. All right. So there's no data, there's no details being shown because we haven't rewritten the code that gets the properties of the line set from the dictionary, the JSON dictionary, which is what we're going to do instead of using a dedicated domain object. But that worked. Cool. Very good. So one other thing I wanted to do was we could just keep it like this. We could deal with the to-do we just created. Well, let's keep it like this for now. All right, let's take a diff. Let's do a diff. See what we got. We added this conversion. We completed that. Convert the strings to dictionaries. That worked. And we modified that. Pretty good. All right, git add legacy main. Oh, we got some swap files. We don't want swap files, do we? No, git add pure. Oh, remember we put it in pure and we're not sure if it's pure. Git add legacy. Git add main side shared facade. All right, swap files. We're gonna. Oh, we need to add the project change. Xcode project. All right, get diff cached. There's our conversion, there's all that. All right, we're just gonna whip it because we're gonna rebuild. We're gonna have to rebuild all these commits. So get commit whip 10. Created conversion. We did more than that, but, and used it. Used it to load script line sets. All right, git push -u, get lab head. All right, so we saved the work we did so far. Let's see it. We added conversion. We completed line sets. There's our conversion, and there's where we have to handle the error. I want to deal with that right now. Do we really need to? Let me think about that for a second. So if this fails for some reason, why would it fail? This could fail. Can it? It just converts a string to data. String, if it's not, how does it know it's not UTF-8? I don't know. We're just going to assume it could fail because otherwise, why would they do this? They're smart. And then this could fail obviously because it's parsing improperly. It's going to throw some kind of error. Right now we're absorbing the error. If either we get a nil from data, we return a blank dictionary as one of the entries in the list, in the array. If it throws an error, we're not logging anything. We don't know that we had an error. Does the caller care that we have an error? Should we percolate this up to the caller, let the caller just have a dictionary? Well, actually, it shouldn't add it to the dictionary is what it shouldn't do. I mean, well, it's an empty dictionary. It's an array of dictionaries. So it's basically saying for every string, there's a dictionary. If this string isn't parsable into the dictionary, you're going to get a blank. We could at least log the error. We could at least do that. So if it ends up blank, so I think we have to use nslog, and we're going to say convert, failed to convert string to dictionary. Do we want to show the string itself? I mean, it could have a bunch of binary gobbledygook in it, in theory, which should make our log pretty messed up. Let's just do that. But I'm going to put a note in here. Because if we want to return an error, we're not going to throw an exception to Objective-C. I'm not going to do that. So this exception handling is encapsulated. But I would need to return a result type. And this is what I would end up doing. I would say result, and as dictionary, error. And since this is inside of a closure, I probably would have to have a do try catch outside the closure. So I would have to catch it here, rethrow, I mean, effectively looks something like, yeah, what a mess. I'm not going to do that. Let's think about how we're debugging this. We passed in a set of strings that we expect to be convertible to dictionaries. That's why we call this convert strings to dictionaries. If for whatever the conversion fails on any of them, we're going to see that our input string had content and our output dictionary is empty, which is a pretty good indication of failure. Is that something we would report to the user? We couldn't convert your dictionary? We don't know why. We don't know what this is being called from. Although the caller knows why. It knows the context of what it's doing. So if we return an error result, the caller can decide, is this information for the user? Is this internal? Can I do my own logging? I mean, we can get rid of the logging here. Oh, yeah, and that makes this totally unpure. Ugh, yuck. Yeah, that makes this definitely not pure. We're logging. So if we want to make this pure, we have to do the result thing. So we have to say result. So I want to keep this in the pure side. It's a conversion. It's a transformation of data. This should not have any side effects. So we got a result type. This is new, by the way, in Swift. It's different from optional. This is a more functional way of doing things. We're not going to log here. We're not doing that. But also the side effect of this is that the very first failure of a string to convert, it's not going to convert the rest of them. I don't think I want to do that. I want to return an error on the first one, but continue to parse the others. Well, let's see what happens. So string map. So now instead of returning, so I can't return the map by itself. I got to return a result. And the way we do this is the result type as okay, we don't need any of this. We have to create a result type. Let's just do a search. Swift result type creation. There's result. How to use result. There we go. All right, error class. Switch result. Where's result? No, hard to see. Result type. We call success. It's an enum. Implemented as a enum, it has two cases, success and failure. Okay, so what we really want to do is we want to say success, if it's successful, with the type. So this is what it would look like. See what happens when we compile that. Okay, so it, oh yeah, this is the Objective-C. The Objective-C code, yeah, I didn't like that. What do we say, dot success? Here's where I could do the, we still have to do the logging somewhere. Oh, we want to return, to Objective-C, we should return nil if it fails. No, that defeats the purpose, because what I was basically saying is keep each string intact. Ugh. Well, I could put the errors in the dictionary itself. I could do that. But then I'd have to interrogate that. You know what? I'm not going to be doing, okay. Yeah, this is a mess. This is a mess. Yeah, let's back up. I'm not going to log because I want to keep this pure. Whoops, went too far. I'm not going to log. What we are going to do is we're going to return in this dictionary can I just initialize it like, can I do this? I'm going to say error. Invalid string, source string. Can I do that? What happens if I do that? DNS dictionary. I don't know what the syntax is for adding entries. It's probably not going to work. Oh, that's not the problem. I did that. I did too many undos. Well, we got the error information in there. We're not logging. We're keeping it pure. We're saying error invalid source. I mean, it's literally what we're going to get. This is going to be an error class. Although I could put the error itself in here, right? In the catch. I could actually be more specific. Let's do that. I think I can just say error. Oh, that's funny. And this is not an error. This is a failure, not UTF-8. I'm going to say failure. Technically, I don't want to confuse it by saying it's an error class. Data is not UTF-8. Is that how you say it? Is it UTF-8? UTF-8. I'll just say UTF-8. So this actually catches both conditions. And we really should make this an else, just for symmetry. So here we put the error in the dictionary itself. Here we say the data is not UTF-8. So it returns and we've got errors. It's a pyramid of doom. Stackety stack stack. I could make this a guard and put the error up there, but this way we see the returns all happening one after the other. Although I don't like the distance here and here. I usually prefer to put the failures up here, so it could be a guardlet. Well, guardlet doesn't require an else. This is the catch. Yeah, let's do a guardlet. See, this is, it's basically if not let. No, let's keep it as if let. I'm going to keep it as if let. I know that idiomatically guardlet is the way to do this, but I really like seeing the returns together. I keep it like this. All right. Anyway, I think we're done. Return closure. What happened? Oh. This has got a return, a return, a return. Interesting. So the else doesn't really work here. Hold on. Just give me 5 minutes. Well, that's weird. The compiler should be smart enough to know that all possible ends of the block have returns on them. I mean, this is an if-else condition. Is it because the do catch, because there's no return here? I mean, it sees that this do catch is basically like an if-else. The only possible completions of this closure are, well, oh, wait a minute. No, there's a missing else here. That's the problem. Oh, I see. I see the problem. Because this might throw an exception, but it also might return a null. A nil. If it returns a nil, it's going to fall here and it's going to fall all the way out. I'm just going to say failure. Because if this fails, it should throw. If it returns a nil, then it's not going to give me an error object, so I can't do this. So I think I have to say failure. Inconvertible string. Unconvertible, inconvertible. What's the word? Inconvertible, unconvertible. Unconvertible? Did I spell it right? Spelled it right. Inconvertible. I think it's unconvertible. All right. Inconvertible string. Let's try that. All right, this is staying pure in theory. I don't know what's going on here, but this should have no effect on the environment. It shouldn't depend on the environment in any way. This is what we needed to do. We needed to see what this header looks like. From NSDA, options can be, if an error occurs, return value will be nil, and the error parameter is set to auto-released NSError, which when it gets converted to Swift, ends up throwing. Yeah, because I was calling it an Objective-C, which I could. Yeah, see, I could have called this from Objective-C. I could have made this an Objective-C method, and I wouldn't have to deal with exceptions. I'd have this error class. But when it gets converted to Swift, it becomes error situation. Or, thrown error, thrown exception. All right, I think we're done. I think that's good. That's how we're going to do this. Be interesting, well, it's not going to fail. So we know we have, we know this works. We did it already. And there's our line sets. Okay. And I'm trying to remember if this one didn't have line sets. Yeah, it didn't. And this one has line sets. Yeah, look at all that. So we got no details, but it is reading and writing the line set files, which is what we want. That I'm going to count as a success, and we're following up on here. And yeah, that's how we're dealing with this. Actually, what is that? Why is that swap? Okay. Oh, I closed out the file. Okay. Get add. Oh, there's still a swap file. There's a vim open somewhere. It's not that guy. I think there's an old. I think these are old swap files. Oh, eliminated. Oh, a swap file. Yeah. Swap file got into my commit. And it got erased. Yeah. Let's get rid of that. Let's just recommit this. Get checkout dash B dev line. I misspelled it again. Line set as JSON D. This is what I'm going to do. All right. Now I'm just going to get add and get commit amend. And get log name status should show us, yes, everything we added. Git show, boom. Yep, completed that. Did our conversion. And fixed that problem. Great, awesome. Git push, GitLab. Yep, that's you. Awesome. Let's clean up some of our old branches. We got some old branches up there. All right, well, you guys don't need to see that. I'll clean it up at some point. All right, good. That's it. It was a successful session as far as I'm concerned, and it wasn't too long. I hope not. So in all your programming, I wish you the best of luck.